forward when it comes to this. As I led on to make it clear, I kind of fell out of Pokemon at this point in my life. There were a lot of reasons for that, and most involved things that weren't really Pokemon's fault. And in retrospect, I feel dumb looking back, but I mean, you have to understand, I was a bullied kid, and part of the reason I was bullied was starting to be because people thought I was really into Pokemon. Even when I started not being into Pokemon, I was still bullied for it, which is hilarious. I was bullied for a lot of stupid reasons. I still remember in 4th grade this kid was making fun of me because I watched cartoons, and he was saying that, you know, cartoons were just for little kids and I was gay for watching cartoons. I should be more mature like them, you know, these mature 4th graders, and watch cool adult shows like 7th Heaven. That's not a joke. That's what he said. Which, you know, looking back on it, that's hilarious. Anyway, the point was that even though I was really out of Pokemon, I still was made fun of for being in Pokemon. I went to 4 different schools because of bullying, and it never seemed to stop. And I don't get it. I guess because I was a nerdy kid who liked video games, people were just like, oh, you must be a Pokeboy, into the Pokemons. You know, not like us cool kids. We like, you know, football, and football, and that's where our interests stop. But the point is that I wasn't into Pokemon yet, still being made fun of for it, so I became very bitter towards the series, which again, I stress, not Pokemon's fault. And as a result, I completely missed out on Gen 3. I totally skipped over it. Which is a shame, because Gen 3 has its good points, adding things like double battles, and obviously the graphical overhaul, and an entirely new world of Hoenn to explore in. You know, Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald were really good games, and then they released Fire Red and Leaf Green, which I didn't even know were out for the longest time, and they were remakes of Gen 1, which I probably would have enjoyed again, but I never did, at least not back then. I did eventually wind up a few years back doing a Let's Play of Pokemon Emerald, which I had a fantastic time with, but, you know, it was kind of late in the game to be enjoying them. Now that Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby are out, it's a little pointless to play the old games now, and even now I still feel like the original GBA games haven't aged super great, which is also a really dumb complaint coming from me because I like Gen 1 and Gen 2, and those games have aged way frickin' worse. But I don't know, maybe it's just because I skipped over them. I'm not really sure how to explain it. They're still really good games and I highly recommend them, but again, you know, just me. I think part of my issue with those games is I wasn't too fond of any of the legendaries, except maybe Rayquaza. And then I also, like, have this issue where I don't understand the evil team's motivations, because Team Magma and Team Aqua, their plans are really stupid. I'm Team Magma, and I want to make more land, which will kill everybody. Hi, I'm Team Aqua, and I want to make more water, which will kill everybody. And in the end, both teams are surprised when this is a terrible idea. And it's like, I don't know, did you not think at all, at any point, that this was a stupid plan? I don't get it. At least with Team Rocket, they were basically just a Pokemon mafia. They wanted power and money, and they wanted to use Pokemon as tools. Simple, but it works and makes sense. But Team Aqua and Magma was where they started experimenting with different weird motivations for the evil teams, and I don't get these two. Maybe I had to be there. I don't know, but in retrospect, I'm just like, this is stupid. Anyway, back to me. So I completely skipped over Gen 3. And, you know, once I got to high school, I was still being made fun of for liking Pokemon when I haven't played a Pokemon game in about, at that point, would have been close to a decade. I think part of it came from the fact that me and my group of friends at the time were playing our GBAs at lunch, but we really showed those preppy chodes up. Because we weren't sitting there playing Pokemon like they thought. We were actually playing more mature adult games, you know, like proper 15-year-olds do. And of course I'm talking about the Mega Man Battle Network series. Yeah, that's right. So mature. But it got to the point where some of my bullies were even taking it to call me Pikachu in the hallways, because apparently that's funny. Just call me the name of a Pokemon. I recognize the irony that I'm wearing a Pikachu shirt right now. That has not been lost on me. You don't have to point it out because I know I did it on purpose. Okay. Shut up. Anyway, as my high school life, you know, died down a little bit and I started getting older and getting towards the time where I started making reviews, I began to focus on things that were online. I learned how to drive and everything, I had a full-time job, and, you know, I began to watch things on Screw Attack, which, in retrospect, was also silly because Screw Attack isn't very fun anymore. But back then, it was cool. But what does it have to do with Pokemon, you may ask? Well, let me backtrack a little bit. See, at the time, Screw Attack was affiliated with a few other, different sorts of free media, video games, not corporate at all, structure, and just hanging out. And they would feature videos from a group called PBC Productions. If you don't know who they are, well, you're probably too young. But if you're a little older, maybe you do remember them. What I know them for is for their internet series called Captain S, which if you watched Captain N, the cartoon as a kid, it's basically that with the roles reversed. It's Captain S. Because Genesis does what Nintendo don't. It was played up for laughs. And again, you stop me and say, what does this have to do with Pokemon? I am getting there. Don't rush me. It is hard for me to talk about past childhood trauma. I have been through a lot, you jerk. I'm sorry, that was really mean. Are you okay? Do you need to talk? Do you need to sit down? I don't know who hurt you, but it's okay. Just settle down. I'm with you. It's all good. Just breathe. Shh. So BBC Productions really isn't around anymore. Their last update was close to 10 years ago, and their forums don't seem to exist, so I have no idea when they stopped posting. What I do know is back then, they would do little vlogs sometimes, and one of them got featured by Screw Attack to announce the release of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Now, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl I was kind of overlooking until I saw this video because of a certain person by the name of Devin Riley. Now, Devin played Ness on the show, who was the villain, because, get it, NES, the villain, you follow? Alright, so anyway. Devin was a big fan of Pokemon to the point that he dragged everyone out on launch day to go to New York for the launch party of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Screw Attack even featured a vlog of him doing this. I can no longer find the actual video of it, but there is a podcast I managed to find, which I'm pretty sure is just the same audio from the video, just put in podcast form in any event. But this whole thing really bothered me. And I sat there on my parents' computer at the time, because this was a long-ass time ago. I was just sitting there on their old laptop, waiting for the video bar to load slowly and just doing some self-reflection. This was a guy who was older than me, who not only was, into Pokemon, but evidently very proud of that fact and ecstatic about Generation 4. To the point that he was unashamedly throwing it out there for the entire internet to see. He didn't care what anyone else thought. He didn't care if there were people who were going to make fun of him. He even brought his friends along. And I started thinking and realizing to myself that, I missed Pokemon. I missed those experiences when I was a kid, and I realized that I had let the opinions of others take away something I enjoyed from me. I'm not saying you shouldn't always listen to the opinions of other people, because there are times where people have good ideas and hey, maybe you shouldn't, be on the drugs or something like that. But if it's something you enjoy and it's not hurting you or anybody else, no one should be able to tell you what you can and can't do. So, I got in my car, and as I said, I was working full-time, so I had extra money. I wasn't even out of high school yet, and I drove to GameStop. I got Pokemon Diamond. Pokemon Diamond was amazing. Generation 4 is amazing. The world of Sinnoh was gripping and interesting. Team Galactic was interesting and awesome and had a plan that actually made sense. The new Pokemon were a lot of fun. I loved getting Luxray. Luxray was cool. I loved being able to get a Flareon again. There were new evolutions with Glaceon and Leafeon. I remember sitting there thinking, oh my god, look at the buildings, they're in 3D, but the character is 2D. So cool. That's the power of the Nintendo DS. Suddenly this nostalgia trip of all this childhood that I had thrown away and ignored and pretended like it was a mistake, came flooding back, and I realized that I had allowed myself to be robbed of something I genuinely loved. It didn't fix my issues at all, I still have a lot of those, but, much like with my Flareon story, where for the first time in my life I stood up for myself via Pokemon, this was the first time I ever got something back after all the trauma I've been put through. And again, it somehow involved Pokemon. I think that's part of the reason why I have such trouble viewing the Pokemon series as a game series. Everyone's like, oh, Pokemon's such a great game. Oh my god, don't you love those games? But Pokemon, it exists in a different category when compared to other games, which is why it's really hard for me to discuss and talk about and even review. I'm trying very hard. Okay, I am. I promise you. I'm trying so hard right now. Gen 4 is still one of my favorites, and I got so into it that as soon as Platinum came out, I had to go get it because it featured Giratina, the ultimate edge level Pokemon, Ghost Dragon type. Definitely not Dark type like I once called him because I'm an idiot. But I loved Pokemon Platinum. It was basically the same store with a bunch of add-ons, and Cynthia was awesome, and the gym leaders were awesome, and the game was I've seen some people actually complain about Gen 4 because it's slower than Gen 3 was. I never really noticed that, but again, I skipped over Gen 3, so maybe it didn't bother me as much. I still highly recommend them as game. Also, speaking of Gen 4, this was also the generation where they decided to release HeartGold, SoulSilver, remakes of Generation 2, and in terms of the best Pokemon games out there, these are up there in my opinion. Oh my god. HeartGold and SoulSilver are so amazing. Not just because they're Gen 2, but because they add on to Gen 2. Like, your Pokemon follow you around, they gave you the Pokewalker, so you can take your Pokemon to work with you, like I did. And you could walk them around. It was cool, alright? Shut up. Listen, I had fun. I had so much fun. I was having fun with Pokemon. And then moving past that, they announced Pokemon Black and White. So edgy. These games aren't edgy at all. And you know, I don't know what it is about Gen 5. I'm still having a hard time figuring out what it was that drew me away from it for a while. I actually didn't play Pokemon White, which is the one I got. Yes, I got Pokemon White, not Black. I know, I surprised the crap out of all of you just now. Get on my level. See, I'm so edgy that I do counterintuitive edgy things to throw off the, fake edgelords. That's how edgy I am. I'm just like double-edged. There was something about Gen 5 though. Maybe it was the aesthetic. It felt a little drearier? I don't know. You'd think I would like that, but I don't know. In Team Plasma, like, their motivations at first was like, we want to save Pokemon from the cruelty of Pokeballs, you monsters. And then they never really, like, carry into that, because it turns out Team Plasma was just wanting to use Pokemon like Team Rocket wanted to. Great. Okay, whatever. It's fine. I guess this was a pretty awesome villain, but and then ends like, ride the Ferris wheel with me. I don't want to ride the Ferris wheel with you. Ride the Ferris wheel with me. I don't want to ride the Ferris wheel. Ride the Ferris wheel. Let's talk about Pokemon on the Ferris wheel. Get me off the Ferris wheel. Can I get out? It's really high up here. Jump. We still have to talk more about Pokemon on the Ferris wheel. I want to get off the Ferris wheel. And I don't know, the aesthetic wasn't right, and the cities looked weird, and it wasn't even the Pokemon themselves. I mean, they're more creative than the orb over here. So I mean, I don't know. I don't get it. It just felt like, it was fine, but I don't think it really did anything too exciting. The sprites were nice, but that was about it. And the game was fun enough, but I also think part of the problem is that I was so invested in HeartGold, SoulSilver that when I jumped into Black and White, it not only wasn't really as good as those two, but I also was super burned out on Pokemon. I needed a break. Black and White 2 did come out eventually and remedy a lot of the problems I had with the initial Black and White, but then I had the issue of, wait. I thought we always did fusions of, like, we had Pokemon Yellow, and then Pokemon Crystal, and then Pokemon Emerald, and then Pokemon Platinum, and now it's like, oh, direct sequels. Wait, stop. That's Pokemon Gray, or Pokemon Onyx, or Graphite, or something gray. Like you ruined everything. Black and White 2 are really good games, and I like them, and I do like Galvantula. He's a tarantula. Spiders. I love spiders. Except he has 4 legs and pedipalps in the front, but he's not a spider. Spiders have 8 legs. This is wrong. Everything about... Wait, no, that's not a... I'm not even sure that counts as an insect without... In any event, I did enjoy Black and White 2 more than I enjoyed Black and White 1, but I will concede I probably wouldn't recommend the 5th generation over basically any other generation. If there's any lesson to take from this, it's... bullies are jerks, and Devin Riley. You are probably not watching this. I don't know if you're still acting, I don't know where your life has taken you, I don't really even know you, but what I do know is that I want to say thank you. Because by just being yourself, you managed to remind a sad young teenager that he could still enjoy things, and he shouldn't let the abuse of others get in the way of that. And I think that's really great. And someone needed to tell you that today. Now that we're back into Pokemon, we can get into my conclusion to this little retrospective, but you'll have to wait till next time, whenever I feel like making it. Don't rush me. I do what I want, and people are going to be down there listing reviews they want me to do that I have no intention of doing. Sometimes people post like these long lists of like, look at all these games you should review, and I'm like, listen, I don't make any money off of this anymore. I really never did, contrary to popular belief. And then, you know, I don't have time. I work a full-time job to take care of a kid by myself, and there's this cat that runs around now, and you people are just awesome. You're awesome. Thanks for watching. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.